Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Rabbi Boruch DuBrow. He is an educator, coach, and consultant at BSD Coaching and Communication, who is helping people live exceptional lives by becoming exceptional people. I cannot wait to share this with you today, guys. Thank you so much, Rabbi Boruch.
Thank you for having me on. I'm really excited.
You know, Before we go any further, for those watching, if you're watching this from any location that is outside of our free community, I just want to personally invite you inside because it's taken a very long time for us to cultivate such a positive, like-minded group of people. We would love to have you in there. So, Rabbi, what was life like before you got into coaching and consulting, and what was the catalyst that brought you into the space?
So I wouldn't say I had a particularly rough childhood upbringing. As a matter of fact, I had really good memories. But then as I got older, I started noticing things that I wasn't noticing when I was younger and as a child. And I started putting together the pieces of the puzzle, noticing that there are certain things in life that we just weren't really prepared for. So as I got older, I got to be around the age of 21, 22 years old. I started looking at my life where it was and then where I wanted to go. Now, in my community, in the Jewish community that I come from, we typically get married around the age of 22, 23, and we start our family young. So I knew that that was on the horizon. And I knew that when I was going to get married, I wanted to get married once, and I was going to make it work no matter what. I was going to do everything I needed to do to make sure that my marriage and my life was what it needed to be. So I started just self-educating, figuring out for myself where I was going, what direction I was heading, what I wanted to do with my life. And that's as far as understanding what proper healthy relationships are, what my proper career path or what my purpose in life was. And as I started gaining this knowledge for myself, I realized that there were plenty of other people who would also need this direction. So I was helping my friends out, giving advice, giving guidance here or there, connecting them to certain resources. And then as I started looking into what was my career path going to be, I was actually at the time seeing a counselor to help me figure out my life. And I told him I wanted to go into marriage, family therapy, or possibly counseling. He said, "Why don't you look into life coaching?" So to me, I had never heard of it before. I was going the counseling route, and he opened this world to me of life coaching, even though he wasn't a life coach. So the thing that really attracted me to life coaching was the idea that it's really focused on the future. Where am I going? Not so much, it focuses on where am I now, but really to use that as a launching pad of where do I want to go versus, counseling and therapy, which have their other focuses. So I was able to then take the challenges and the experience I had been through, because by the time I was 23, I had been exposed to a ton. I went through a lot myself and had been on this journey, and I was able to then use it to propel myself forward, but then also use that to help me help others. And that's really what it's been the last 6 years that I've been doing coaching. It's been using personal experiences, but then helping people to see within them their experience and how the challenges, as my coach says, you don't just go through it, you grow through it. And that's what I'm doing now with my clients.
Nice. So you kind of touched on a little bit, but what are the main problems that people are trying to go through? Is it that they're lost, or is it they're lost in a specific area, or?
So the people that I work with tend to be, and I think this applies to a lot of people as well, we're kind of put into this factory-made system of the way we go through life, right? When you grow up, you're told, go to school, get good grades, so you can go to college, get a degree, so you can go work at a company, and you can retire nicely, right? The problem is the world is no longer functioning that way, right? We're no longer in that system. That was an industrial age model where they were really training people in to become factory workers because that's what we needed. Nowadays, the world is not operating that way. Our life isn't operating that way. So what tends to happen is people are still going through this model of the school system, which is really preparing you for a certain way of life, but they're not connecting with that. So they get to the age of their late 20s, their 30s, they've gone through college. I think the statistics are something like 85% of people don't end up getting a job in the industry that they got their degree in. So they're at this loss of, should I stay where I got my degree, or should I go out there and challenge things a little bit and kind of forge my own path? Now, me being a rabbi, I'm a man of God, I'm a man of the book, and I strongly believe that God gave us each a purpose that we're meant to fulfill. And whether you're religious or not, or spiritual or not, fact of the matter is we each have our own unique talents. So what I work with people on, and what I think people really need to start plugging into, is this idea of there is a direction for them. There is a path that they're supposed to go on, a purpose that is unique to them, a mission that only they can accomplish. So it's connecting, helping people to kind of gain clarity on that vision for their future, the direction that they want to head, and how they can use what they're talented at to help improve and make the world a better place.
Mm. You know, let me ask you this question first. So for the people who aren't working with you yet, you know, what's the first thing they can start to do to start, you know, understanding their purpose?
There's a great book, one of my all-time favorites, by the name by a guy by the name of Simon Sinek. If you haven't heard of him, amazing guy. He's got a book called Start with Why. He's also got a TED Talk, an old TED Talk, by the same topic, Start with Why, and it really breaks down. It's for companies, but it also on an individual basis, the idea of figuring out your why. I think one of the best ways to do that, and why and purpose are all very interchangeable, but one of the best ways to do that is kind of think through your history, especially for somebody who's in their 20s or beyond. Think through your past. What are the things you enjoyed when you were growing up? What are the things you enjoyed as a teenager? Where did you feel the most, not comfort per se, but like you were doing the most? For me, I was able to look back and see as far back as elementary, I was always already helping people. When I was in elementary, I was bullied. There were a bunch of other kids that were bullied. And so we kind of created this community where we could feel comfortable with each other and safe with each other, where we would encourage each other and uplift people. As I was going through the dating process in the Jewish world, I was picking up on certain things and I started to share that. So I always saw that there was this common denominator of, helping people to improve their lives. So I think anybody who, if they would take time just to go back, look at their greatest strengths and their weaknesses, the times that they were at the highest at the points of their life, and then the lowest, and look for the common denominators. What are the things that keep happening? And then from that, they'll be able to really figure out what is their purpose. Another way is even looking in their current situation. Let's say they're working a 9 to 5. What are the problems that they're noticing in their company or the organization that they're working in? And how can they fill those gaps? That oftentimes gives great insight into what a person's purpose may be.
You know, that's actually a great point when you talk about getting around other people. Yes, they had a couple great points in there. You know, that's kind of why we created the community, right? So we can always be around like-minded people. Because do you agree that we start to become like the people we spend the most time with, or?
Oh, 100%. You are a direct influence of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Yeah. So if you see that the people aren't really great people, it's going to influence you. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, but it will have an influence on you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you reverse that, surround yourself with great people, it's going to propel you forward.
Exactly. That's why people should join the community. But, you know, you also touched on a really good thing as well. Or let me ask you this question, right? Because sometimes I'll talk to people, and I think a lot of the confusion around like the purpose of your life is what happens if they miss it. So a lot of people I hear like, well, what if I get it wrong? Am I living the wrong purpose? Is my life going to be messed up? Or
right. So it's a very interesting thing, because I actually, one of my clients, when I started working with him, he was getting ready to go teach English as a second language in the Philippines. And we realized that he wasn't doing that because it's what he wanted to do. It's because he was running away from his current situation. Long story short, we noticed the common denominators in his life were all based around food and the food industry. So he ended up going to a culinary school where he learned the culinary arts. And like, we thought like this was going to be his thing. He was going to become a chef. He was halfway through it, and he realized that this was something he enjoyed, but it wasn't his purpose. But there he met people who he connected with, who kind of opened his eyes to other opportunities. And now he's back in the education industry, but he's utilizing the things that he learned in culinary school. And the overall long-term picture for him is he's going to create a charity where he gives back to the community through education and through the culinary arts. And a big thing for him is helping wounded warriors. So I don't think it's ever too late. I really don't believe. I mean, I know people who were in their 50s when they finally got started on their purpose. You know, you're 50 years old, you know, you're retiring in 10 years, but you're just now getting started. So there really is no end point or beginning point. I think on the contrary, the older you are, the more you have to pull on from your past experience. I don't think a person's ever too young or ever too old. It's just a matter of, are you willing to open your eyes and look around and then kind of take that leap to see, am I willing to pursue this?
Yeah. Let me ask this question. So we've been talking a lot about vision and purpose. What's the vision and purpose look like for you for as far down the road you like to think or talk about?
So I come from the Chabad sect of Judaism. We're known as dancing rabbis with the long black coats and black hats. Fun stuff. But anyway, we are known throughout the world for sending out rabbis and emissaries throughout the world and helping create Jewish communities, kind of bring Jewish communities back to life. And that was something that was always very close and dear to my heart. But at the same time, there are a lot of Chabad rabbis who are very dependent on community donations. And I never wanted to do that. I never wanted my livelihood to be reliant on my community donations. I also didn't want the community to have to support my lifestyle. But I was still very passionate about the message of helping create the world, helping make the world to be a better place and helping bring back Jewish life. So I focused a lot on my vision. And my vision was I wanted to live, and I obviously still do, I want to live a wealthy lifestyle, right? I want to have a nice house. I want to have a car that's comfortable. But what's most important for me is, why do I want a nice house? Because I want to be able to have people over where I can give back to them. I want to have immense wealth so that I can give back to the community. I'm very passionate about helping young couples who are newly married, who may not have a great income, to understand the basic principles of finances and budgeting, help them figure out their purpose. I want to help pay for weddings. I want to help create charities for education. So for me, my vision is being able to free myself up from my 9-to-5 job so I can focus on my coaching, but not have to be dependent on the money, but also have enough money that I can then give back. I mean, I was recently studying a Jewish text where it talks about the levels of income. The basic level, we have a obligation to support our community members. So if somebody loses their financial stability, we as a community have the obligation to bring them back to that standard. So if somebody was just, paying their bills, that is what we have to get them to. If somebody is living more of a luxurious lifestyle, that's what we need to get them to. And then there's the next level, which is you're living a luxurious lifestyle, but then you have an abundance of wealth that you now are the one who helps other people. So that's really my vision, and just helping people to discover their purpose, discover their path, so that they can go out there and live a meaningful and impactful life.
That's a really great goal. So that's really why we have people like you come on, because that's a message that needs to be coming out to more people. That's
Right.
that's what money is for. A lot of people are scared about money or think it's evil.
Right.
But
I definitely had that script going through my head when I was growing up, because my family didn't grow up with money, and I saw business people, but then I also heard about business people who were doing really bad things. And I grew up with the script of money is bad and money is evil. It's money doesn't change a person. It just accentuates who they are. It amplifies who they are.
yeah. Let me ask you this question. So you touched a little bit on, some of your coaching programs. What do you have going on, how can people get, in touch with you and stuff?
Sure. So I do one-on-one coaching, although because I understand the struggle involved with financially. Again, I never want to put anybody in debt or at a financial loss. Now, there's the idea of investing in coaching, which I believe everybody has to do. I invest in my coaching. I have my own coach. You always have to invest in the next level up. So I do one-on-one coaching with people. But long-term goal is really to start doing, and I'm developing these programs now where I'm going to be doing group coaching, but also an educational platform online where people can learn the basics that they need to know for relationships, for education, for finances, the basics of life, really. So those are kind of the projects that I'm working on now. I'm doing one-on-one coaching. I'm aiming to go into group coaching and then just educational resources online. There's a great book by Bob Berg called The Go-Giver. And he talks about the 5 laws of stratospheric success for business, but also for personal life. Law number 1 is add more value than you receive in compensation. Law number 2 is add more value to more people. And that is really my goal, is just be able to add as much value to as many people for as little cost as possible. As far as how to reach out to me, I'm on Instagram as Rabbi_Baruch. I'm on Facebook by my name. I'm on LinkedIn. And then I also have a website, bsdcoaching.com. Any of those places are a great way to reach out to me. I'm always happy to have a conversation with somebody, see how I can help them out, and in whatever way.
Nice. What was the book you just talked about? You said the 5 laws of what?
The title of the book is called The Go-Giver by Bob Berg.
Nice. Cool. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on. It was an honor and a pleasure.
Yeah. And for those watching, we thoroughly hope that you found this valuable. Now, once again, if you are looking for a place where people are improving themselves and helping others do the same, people just like our guests who are on the show today, I really, would just love to invite you to come and join us inside of our free community. Now, if that's you, go on ahead and click on the link either above or below the video. We'd love to have you in there. Now, hopefully you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating this. Feel free to hit that share button so other people can get some great value as well. Have a great day. We're done recording in 3 and 2 and